Hey, what's going on? My name is Ed Shaw. Welcome to Ed Shaw Graphics, the channel. Hey, check this out. I want to talk about different types of screens for different designs. Because you can't use the same type of screen for just any design. So it depends on the detail of the design. Like, for example, if I'm doing like a basic logo or just a bunch of text or some type of like a cartoon or something like that, it's not really a whole lot of detail. It's more of a solid print. So with that type of print, I will go with a 110 mesh count. Now, what is a mesh count? A mesh count will be the number of holes per inch, if I'm not mistaken. A number of holes in the screen per square inch. I think that's how it goes. And the lowest mesh count you can buy from the supply shop, I'm thinking a number 60 mesh count. So that type of screen will have the largest holes and will allow the most ink to go through the screen because of the size of the holes and the mesh count. And I guess the highest mesh count would be probably maybe over 300 if I'm not mistaken. But the standard would be, if you're doing just basic logos, text, names, or whatever, then the standard screen for something like that would be more like a 110 mesh. Now, for a photograph, what makes a photograph is just a bunch of dots. You have small, little tiny dots, you have medium-sized dots, and you have large dots. So the larger the dots in a photograph, the darker the picture comes out. The smaller the dots, the more highlighted the picture becomes. And so that what makes up a photograph. And this would be considered a halftone because dots is what makes a halftone picture, photographic picture. So I guess you could say spot color or vector versus halftone. So those would be basically your two different types of prints. So right now I want to take you over to the light table, the exposure unit, so I can give you a better understanding of what I'm talking about. So let's do this. Okay, so right here, I have basically two different types of artwork. So this one here would be more of a, I guess, vector art or spot color, if I'm not mistaken. This logo right here. And then this right here would be your halftone artwork. Now, for the logo, I don't have no whole lot of small detail or anything like that. Everything is solid. The words is solid. The leaves is solid. No detail, no nothing. It's just, everything is just solid. Solid color. So all I would need is something like a 110 mesh, or I can go with maybe a lower mesh count depending on how much ink I want to go through the screen. 110 mesh count would be the standard mesh count that most screen printers use for maybe a logo design, something like this. So the holes would be a little bit larger than what the holes in the screen that I would use for this right here. This here would be considered a half-tone print. Now, I want you to look very closely. I'm bringing in my camera. And if you notice, you see a lots of dots. Like I said, dots make up a photograph. You have large dots and small dots. The smaller the dots, the more highlight you'll see. The larger the dots, the more darker the picture gets. So that's what makes up a photograph. Just a bunch of dots. Large ones, small ones, medium-sized ones. You see how small these dots get? So the smaller the dots get, the brighter the photograph gets, which would be considered a highlight. So the small dots make up the highlight, and the larger dots make more of a shadow. So for a photographic picture like this, I would need a mesh count over 200. And with that many holes per square inch in the screen, it would capture more detail. And with it capturing that much detail, by the screen having more of a mesh count, it would take up less ink. And so that's how these two different types of screens work, or different screens work, period. So it depends on what type of design you come with. Either a solid design like this, or a half-tone print like this, which consists of a lot of dots that makes up the image in the photograph.